Okay. I don't see the dots seem to be moving a little tiny bit, but it doesn't. Wait, there's a volume knob here. Let me see if this does anything. It's good. It's only one dot, but it does sound like good. It sounds okay. Okay. So okay, so mute right here. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick sound check. Can you hear me, Braxton? All right. Okay, patrons. In keeping with tradition, the weather report, wind has died down, and but there's not a cloud in sight and no sign of rain. I'm going to do this one a little different because there's just so much to talk about, and so I might go graze through the questions and comments in the comments section from the announcement yesterday, but just kind of want to bring you up to speed. Maybe I'll go in like kind of reverse chronological order of like what this experience is and has been. So I'm in the San Fernando Valley right now, and I'm on the other side of the ocean, and like my house is at the top of the mountains. The ocean's at the bottom of the other side of the mountains, and I am on the bottom side of the valley on the other side of the mountains. So I'm here, my studio's here, my house is here, the ocean is here. And so we're safe. We relocated on Tuesday early. We relocated to a hotel over here in the valley, and we got in early, so they gave us a 3-bedroom suite for a very fair price, and a lot of our friends are all there. And as far as I know today, our house is fine, and our neighbors, our friends' houses are fine, and the firemen are doing a good job of protecting Topanga right now. So what happened was on Tuesday, there was a fire at like 10 a.m. that started in the Palisades. I don't think we know how it started, but we're in the period of Santa Ana winds right now, and they go up to 100 miles an hour. So Tuesday, they couldn't do the drops. So usually what happens is these fires start and they are on it. And they have they have Chinook helicopters with 2 rotors, and they have these things called super scoopers, which are airplanes that can dive into the ocean, pick up tons, like I don't know how many gallons of water, and drop them. And then they have fire retardant that they can drop from like DC-9s, and they're on the spot. Unbelievable. I have footage. It's in some old video of I was in Topanga. There was a little brush fire. Chinook, boom, put it out. And normally that's how it goes. Little fire, they detect it, they isolate, they go. But what happened was the winds were 100 miles an hour, and they just couldn't get them up. And that's why the Palisades just went up, and then it was just like hell. It was just, then we heard about the Eleanor fire. Is that what it was called? I'm sorry, the Eaton fire. I mean, I'll just read you. There's an app that we're all on right now called Watch Duty. And so this is all the fires in Los Angeles right now. It's just, we're just surrounded. It's what I've been saying to my friends, my New York friends, is that this is scarier than 9/11. This is scarier than 9/11, 2001. All right. So what happened was Tuesday, Isabel's at the house with the baby. My son has been relocated to a different school. They do this during the heavy winds. So he's in the valley at a different school. And so he's not in Topanga, but Isabel's up in Topanga with the baby. And I get a call, I believe from my friend Kevin, who said there's a big fire in the Palisades, and I'm here. And I think I can see the smoke from here. It's that big. And so, the thing with Topanga, I don't know what Paradise, California was like. I don't know how the road system worked there, but in Topanga, there's 2 roads. There's one road that goes in and out, and then there's another road, my road, that connects to that road that goes in and out. So, and then there's a lot of people with horses and animals. So I'm thinking worst case scenario is if there's a mass exodus, right? And one of those horse trailers gets a flat tire, breaks, an axle, runs out of gas, bang, the whole canyon is locked up with traffic, and no one can move. Okay. And there's a fire closing in on you. And I don't know how fast these things move. And there's 100-mile-an-hour winds. So I just said at the first sign, I was like, get out of there. Let's go. We'll go down and meet me at the hotel, check in, get a room, and we'll just wait this thing out. And we were like, we got there at like 2:30. And then I think by 4, the entire hotel was booked up. But we got in there and the hotel staff was incredible. They were really sensitive to the situation and just helpful and competent and like focused. Okay, so that's Tuesday. It's too windy for the fire crews to go up. Wednesday morning, still too windy. This is 6 o'clock in the morning, still too windy for the fire crews to go up. So I get in the Land Cruiser because I want to go to the house because although we were good at packing and we're very good at packing, on the getting ready to be sent out was the applications for the baby's passport and my son's new passport because he needs a new one. And then with all of that was all their documentation. So their social security cards and their birth certificates. So essentially all of the government documentation you need to prove that you exist. And then Isabel's passport was also in the basement. And the propane had been left on because, you know, you're leaving the house, you forget. So I wanted to go to the house to turn off the propane and get the documents. So this is now Wednesday morning. So the fire has been burning. Like this Tuesday night was the 100-mile-per-hour winds and the Palisades are burning down. Malibu is on the coast is burning down. So this is Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock. It's dark. So I get on the bike. I get in my Land Cruiser and I drive to my road and it's police blockade. And I have my driver's license out. And I say, I'm a resident. I just need to turn off some propane tanks. Can you please he's like, we can't let anyone in. He's like, no one's getting in. He said, the people who are in the canyon right now are the people who are deciding to stay. And I just said, you can't let me in. And he was just like, no, he was adamant because the aircraft wasn't in the air yet. So there was no suppression. It was just a spreading crazy wildfire with 100-mile-per-hour winds. Now, thank God the winds were blowing towards the ocean, but the fire, well, I'll get to that in a minute. So I was prepared for this. So I drove to this road off of Mulholland called Stunt Road. Now, Stunt Road has a fire road that connects through the woods to Topanga, to Red Rocks State Park. So you drive down Mulholland we're now on the valley side of the mountains. You drive down Mulholland Highway to Stunt Road. You take a left on Stunt Road, and then on the left is a fire road with a gate, but you can get a dirt bike around it. A gate to a back road that leads to Red Rocks Canyon Road, which is where I do my run every morning, which leads to my road, which I've done with my son. We've done all these stuff. This is why you do adventures. This is why you do adventures where you live, so that you know all of these nooks and crannies. You know all this back road stuff. But a cop had blocked off Stunt Road. So the road to the fire road, blockade. I'm not outrunning the cops. Okay. I'm not on an electric dirt bike. I'm not outrunning the cops, and they're prepared for everything. So I saw them and I'm driving back. I'm thinking I'm driving back to the hotel, and I was like, okay, I know one more spot. I know one little secret private driveway that is the terminus of this driveway that leads into the canyon, and it leads into, I won't say the name of the road, but it leads into the main road in Topanga Canyon. It's in between the sheriff's department jurisdiction, which is Topanga. Topanga is LA Sheriff's Department jurisdiction, and LAPD department jurisdiction, which is Calabasas, the Valley. That's LAPD, LA Sheriff. And this little driveway, first of all, it's private. So I don't think it's it's a private road. Sorry, not a driveway. It's a road, but it's private. And there's a little sign on it that says End County Maintained Road. So I don't know what's going on in the canyon. There's no news from the canyon. I don't know if there's big ass trees down. I don't know if it's on fire. I don't know if it's full of fire trucks and policemen and like blockades. I don't know, because there's no news, and the news is the news. And they're in Palisades. chop, and there's no choppers up because it's too windy. There's no news choppers up. So I take my electric dirt bike, and thank God, because I'm prepared. I mean, the people that they call preppers when this shit goes down, they're called prepared. Okay. So I'm not exactly a prepper, but I'm pretty well prepared. And so I parked my car at the terminus of this this secret road, this private road. And there's a sign. I didn't see any cops. There was no blockade. And there's a sign that says end of county maintained road. And I was like, okay, that's the one. And I got on my electric dirt bike, put my helmet on, backpack, and just raced into the canyon, down through the woods, through lots of sticks, down through the canyon, ghost town. It wasn't abandoned. There were people. There were like young men, not young men, but men in their 30s with like Tacomas and trucks, kind of watching and monitoring the situation. I went right to my house. I turned off the propane tanks. I got all the documentation, and and then I rode to the front, to the fire. I guess in war you would call it the front, and it's where the action is, to the fire. I rode my electric bike to the fire, and there was a pullout on Topanga Canyon Boulevard about a mile south of Topanga Lumber, and which is our hardware store. And there was a fire brigade man. It said fire brigade something on the back. He had a Bronco, like a new Ford Bronco, but he had those fire jackets that you see everybody wear, which I am going to get, by the way. And I overheard him talking, and he said that there's a blockade down at the bottom, and that's where he went. But I could see the fire, and I was there for maybe 10 minutes, and I could see the fire. Now, remember, there's no air support. This is Tuesday morning. This is 7:30 a.m. Tuesday morning. And there's just a line of fire. To the left, I'm looking south. To the left is mountains, and on the other side of those mountains is Topanga Canyon, or Topanga State Park, and the Palisades. Okay. And I just see the smoke, and then I see flames, it's just a ribbon of flames. And even though the wind is blowing them towards the ocean at 50 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, the flames are creeping. And it looked like they were creeping at about 20 feet maybe it was like a foot a minute or something like this. And they're creeping up the canyon, and they're creeping up towards Topanga, to the town of Topanga. And they're about a mile away from where the civilization in Topanga starts. And they're about 2 miles away from my house, 3 miles away from my house. And I'm doing the math, and I'm going back. So I'm riding back up Canyon Boulevard to get back on this private driveway thing, to get into my truck, to go kind of, get brief the family and everything. I got the documentation, and I'm just doing the math, and I'm just like, fuck, this thing is going like a mile per hour. We're 3 miles away. It's just gonna fucking steamroll the whole. It's just gonna be like the Palisades. That's what's gonna happen. It's a line. It's like a squeegee of ink, and the ink is fire, and it's just gonna take out everything. And one of the things I remember from, September 11th, 2001, I was living in Manhattan. I was 26 years old. One of the things I remember is all of the rumors. And that was one of the first things I learned was, don't believe anything. Don't believe anything. Don't believe your friends. Don't believe anything. Because people like to exaggerate. People like to embellish and be dramatic. So don't listen. You got to verify. So but I'm just doing the math in my head, and I'm just like, fuck. And it's like, it's getting real. It's getting very scary and very sad, because, that's the house where my son was born. And, that's where that's where like Isabel and I really started our life together. And it's like a fucking special, amazing community, and an amazing, fucking awesome town. it's like a town, it's like an American town, like from the 50s, you know, like it's a community. And like when they have the square dance, the whole town, it's that stuff that's very hard to find. And so whatever, it's super duper sad. And I'm just like, that house is gone. It's gone. And I'm going back, and I saved my son. He was worried about his cash box, you know, I got him a cash box to put all his little dollar bills and shit in, because I pay him to do little jobs around the house. And before I went up there, he's like, did you guys, you know, when we came and got in the hotel room on Tuesday, he was like, did you bring the cash box? And it was like all he talked about. So I had stuffed that also in the back, and I met them at a restaurant. I met my family at a restaurant here in the San Fernando Valley. And I walked in with the cash box, and he was in the bathroom. So when he came out, there it was at his table, and he was just like, you know, it was like a little relief for him. And so, you know, everything's on the news, and everything's on these apps and all this shit. And it's coming like, and they don't care about Topanga yet. The news and you know, the local news and the national news and the internet, it seems, doesn't care about Topanga yet, because you've got the bigger fires. You got the Palisades. You got the one in Altadena. So we're just kind of preparing ourselves for worst case scenario. And we go back, and I'm driving back to the hotel, and this is the first time my son's ever seen me cry. And I just was like, I think our house is gone. I think our house is going to burn down. And he took it better than I did. You know, the kids they love adventure. In the hotel, he has like his own room in the hotel. It's like a little 3-bedroom suite. So the baby gets a little, or 3-room suite. So the baby gets a little room. He gets a little room. He gets unlimited iPad time. So whatever. But, you know, we had just like a family mourning moment, mourning moment. And then we just had to be glued to the TV to see what was happening. And then, thank God, the winds died down enough for air support and air suppression. And they just went, and they've just been, this is still happening. This isn't over. There's no relief. I don't know what's going to happen to my house. They're just drowning the fire with, you know, and they've keeping it at bay. And I'm looking on my app, and it's still, the fire is still where it was when I was down there on my dirt bike. It's still like a mile south. It's a little closer now. It's a little bit like 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet closer to the lumber yard. So it's 1,000. It's like 2,000 or 3,000 feet from the lumber store, Topanga Lumber. I don't even know what that is. Topanga Lumber. It's 2,000 feet closer, but it's hours, days late. You know, a couple days later, and they're still beating it back. So you're glued to the TV, and then you're seeing this fire and that fire and this fire and that fire. And so yesterday, which is Thursday, yesterday is Thursday, the planes are up. The winds are still gnarly, but they don't ground all the aircraft. And Isabel's at the hotel with the kids, and I am here at the studio, preparing my footage, backing things up, preparing to do a video about my experience, and a video about the thing that I'm having trouble with the Palisades is Paradise keeps coming into my mind, because Paradise, California burned like a few years ago, right? So I keep doing Paradise, and then I have to stop and no, it's called it sounds like Palisades, even though the Palisades is like basically our second home, you know, but I was just with Casey and his family in the Palisades right around Christmas time, right on the second day of Hanukkah. We were up at the Palisades hanging out. So I'm here. I'm at the studio. This is yesterday in the afternoon. I'm at this studio, and Isabel's at the hotel, and I get a call from my friend Kevin, he might be up in the canyon. I don't know where he is, but he's been kind of my news guy. He's a single guy, no kids. So he's been kind of keeping me up to date. And he's like, there's a big fire across the 101 from where you are right now. So now the winds aren't blowing the fire away from me like they are in Topanga. The winds are blowing the fire towards me, towards the hotel. This is yesterday. I don't remember, 2, 3, something like that. 2 or 3 p.m., something like that. And I'm here and I'm within walking distance to the hotel. I'm not far. But now, at this point, yesterday, the fire, I'm seeing out my window, I am seeing fire suppression teams just like dropping the red fire retardant, dropping choppers, dropping the water, and the smoke is just, and remember, the wind is blowing the fire at me and at us, and the smoke is just horrific. It's the whole sky. It's the whole sky. Like you get to the ground zero of the fire and it's the whole sky is dark smoke. It's not night, but it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. That's what it looks like. It's horrific. So I'm throw everything, all the essentials. I've been packing and unpacking, I'm throwing all the essentials in camera bags. When I got the call from Kevin, I was in the process of bringing the battery and the charger for the battery for the dirt bike that is mounted on the back of the Land Cruiser in case of extreme emergency where you have to abandon the car. I was in the process of doing that when I got the call from Kevin. So now I get the call from Kevin. I'm rolling on the fire. I'm rolling in the experience. I put a 600 millimeter lens on the Canon. I put it on a tripod with a fluid head, and I'm recording that. And then I'm on the earphones with Isabel, and we're talking about it. And I said, I got to go outside in the street and see what's going on because I don't know how severe this thing is. So I run out into the street. I run back, and I was just like, okay, pack up. We have to get out of here. Pack up. And so now I am in the studio, and I have to, this is how I make money, man. This is my living. I have to fucking grab shit. I got to grab stuff. I can't do this. And thank you, patrons, because this is your money is paying for hotels and gas, everything, because, I haven't posted anything in a month. I haven't had, sponsorship money because I was on vacation. And then you had some we had some like health stuff. And then I had a loved one, not family member, but a loved one die. Like it was and it's been a whole bunch of unrelated to the fire. It's been a whole bunch of just interruptions, and it's winter break. So I have to pack all this stuff. This is yesterday, 2 or 3 p.m. when the Kenneth fire starts. And it's blowing towards us. And we got in the car. I got to the hotel. Isabel, we packed all this shit into the car. Isabel had gone on Wednesday after the air support came. Isabel had taken the Tacoma up to the house and like filled the bed of the Tacoma with like essentials and brought it down. So we're stuffing all that into her station wagon, and we're stuffing stuff into the Land Cruiser. And we're driving to family member's house in Sherman Oaks. And I just, again, the Angelinos, I love these people so much. Unbelievable, because we don't know that if it's going to jump across the 101 and just burn Calabasas. We don't know if they're going to shut the 101 down, and everyone is merging onto this freeway to get the fuck out of here. And no, I didn't hear a single horn, not one horn. No one was tailgating. You could change lanes. They were letting all the drivers were letting everyone merge onto the 101. And on the Google Maps, the whole damn thing was red. And God bless these Angelinos, just letting people in and just chill about it. The workers at the hotel just stayed there. They were fixing the fountain outside the hotel. They just stayed, and they were like still painting. It reminded me of these painters on September 11th, 2001. There's this little park on 13th Street and 8th Avenue called Jackson Square. And there were these like Polish guys painting the wrought iron fence, and the fucking Trade Center is on fire behind I wish I had documented this, but I wasn't as mature as I am now. I was 26, and they were just painting that fence the whole time while the buildings are coming down, everything. And at the end of the day, they were done with the fence. It was unbelievable. Anyway, these guys were doing that, and the Angelinos. And then we got to the house, to our refuge where my family is right now. This is like, this is, I don't know, 16 hours ago or something. And thank God we're safe there. They're on vacation. The family members are on vacation, but there's a house sitter that's there who knows all how to do all the, houses are complicated. They have thermostats and this and security and all that. So that's where we are now. And it's all happening in real time. The fires are still burning. And so, it turns out that the Kenneth fire, the one that was burning across the 101 yesterday, that was being blown towards us, I think they have that pretty much contained. It turns out that was an arsonist. And the local news, I don't know where you guys are, but the local news here in Los Angeles, they're showing stuff that I don't think the international news and the national news, I don't think is covering it. But there are like homeless people lighting huge fires underneath overpasses. And there are like people in Venice that Andrew Huberman posted something, I think it was this morning, of these like arsonists lighting fires in Venice Beach, California, which is not near any of the fires. And like, I think there are people, I want to say deranged, but then I want to say embittered. I want to say evil. I want to say evil people who are seeing this as like an opportunity, as like, let's just burn it down. Like the Joker, that movie, The Joker, the one with Joaquin Phoenix. I think there are people like that. And I think that we don't know what started it we don't know what started the Palisades. I've heard rumors, but I don't know what started it in the Palisades. Maybe it was one of these encampments. These vagrants are everywhere. And another thing that doesn't get reported is these guys light fires all the time. I've driven through other underpasses where the whole homeless encampment is just ablaze, and there's no fire suppression there yet. And the homeless guys are just kind of sitting around like watching it as entertainment. No, nobody's frazzled. Nobody's trying to put it out. And I don't know, maybe. And I'm finding out, I'm learning from firsthand accounts of people eyewitnessing that. Oh yeah, no, there's secret little encampments in Topanga Canyon State Park behind your house, Van. Yeah, there's a bunch of, and these are drug addicts. These are Michael Schellenberger wrote an entire book about this called San Francisco. And these 99.99% of these people are drug addicts that are, not recovering drug addicts. And these people are not responsible with their cooking fires and their camping fires and so forth. And so we don't know what started, but we do know that this one, it's called West Hills. Very beautiful, beautiful neighborhood. I believe that's where Rogan lived. He might have been Bell Canyon. I don't remember, but it's kind of the same area. It's the same Bell area, West Hills, that they burned. There's shit burned there, yesterday. I believe that's where Joe Rogan had one of his houses, or maybe a couple of his big houses before he moved to Texas. So that's kind of, it's hard to sleep with this. So you're exhausted all day. You're just addicted to the phone, addicted to the TV, because it's real life. I mean, where we're staying now is near the Hollywood Hills, which also burst into flames on Wednesday night. Like if say we were staying there, we would have had to have our eyes glued because you got to be awake for the evacuation order. And it was like a movie. We were out at a restaurant on Wednesday night, and all of the phones, everybody's phone sitting around us, everyone getting the evacuation, warnings and evacuation orders and all of this stuff. And so now today, after lying in bed and sleeping badly and talking to people and watching a little bit of news and maybe, looking at a couple of, opinions from people who've lived here, and talking about leadership and why this happens in 2024, when we have one man who can build a rocket and put people up in outer space and bring them back. We have a guy who owns a company who can do that, when our federal government can't do it. And there's things I've known. There's Forest Service money has been diverted to a light rail project in California that they haven't built. They've been working on it for 10 years. I believe they spent something like $19 billion. They haven't laid a single foot of track. It's just a graft. and they're taking that money from there's a whole bunch of little things like that. And those little pieces of information, which I've been hearing about for 6 years, they're all starting to come out. And I think that people are going to wake up to a lot of these policies that have led to this. There's no reason for this. I was listening to Dr. Drew. You remember that guy, Dr. Drew from Loveline? It was Dr. Drew and then Adam Carolla, and you'd call in. It was like a radio show, and it might have been a TV show too. And you'd call in and be like, "Oh, my girlfriend doesn't have orgasms. What should I do?" And then Adam Carolla would say something funny, and Dr. Drew was the MD, and he'd tell you exactly what was going on, like anatomically. So Dr. Drew is, he lives here in Los Angeles, and he was on one of these podcasts, and he was talking about, look, in the 70s, when I was a kid 50 years ago, they did, he had a word, he knew the word. I wish I knew what it was. It's a type of controlled burn where they just burn little, I think they're called blocks or something, blockades, they burn little ribbons so that if a fire does start, there's no fuel after a certain point. And it's just a maintenance thing. And they do it. And last time I was in Yosemite National Park, I stayed at a campsite at about, 6,000 feet. And there was a controlled burn going on. It said, do not leave the road, do not leave the paths, controlled burn in progress. And, it was just like smoldering little fields just to get rid of the fuel. And it's just something that they do from time to time. It's part of the thing. But, I'm being told that the budgets for that and the politics for that are that they've diverted funds and diverted energy. Diverted resources away from that. And now, they want to outlaw, or it might even be outlawed, that you can't have a gas stove in your house, because a gas stove, it's like a cigarette lighter. Okay. Because of the carbon, the CO2 emissions. How much CO2 has gone up into that sky over the last 3 or 4 days? I mean, the whole town is the whole town is orange with smoke. It's like, so, artists shouldn't be, I don't think real artists should be politically public about things and be this team or this candidate or blah, 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 blah. But I think it's important for us to criticize leadership when it has failed us, and our leadership has failed us. And I saw this clip this morning, and I can't believe it's true, but I saw the clip. So it is true. So Anderson Cooper, who was in Palisades, he's interviewing our governor, Gavin Newsom, and he says to he asks the governor, how come these fire hydrants in the Palisades? By the way, Palisades, you walk around the Palisades and it's just ordinary, nice houses. These are what you would call a modest home. And they're 2 million, 6 million, 8 million. That's just like a regular house, like a Cosby Show house, or like the Simpsons kind of house. And these are $2 million houses. Like that's the minimum buy-in in the Palisades. The Palisades is more expensive than Beverly Hills. It's an absolute jewel. Okay. And so Anderson Cooper says to the governor of this state, he says, how come there's no water in the fire hydrants? The firemen are telling me there's no water in the fire hydrants. And you know what this guy says? The governor of the state of California? He says, the local guys will figure that out. Then what do we need you for, pal? Yeah, I'm the local guy. We're the local guys. But no, we pay the state to take care of this stuff. We pay the city. So, and you know what? God bless Anderson Cooper, because as far as I know, he's the only national news desk guy to go into Topanga and he did a little like thing on his phone and said this. God bless him for that, because Topanga, there's not that many of us that live there. And the news, obviously, you have to concentrate on the highest concentration of people. And that's Altadena. And that's, I want to say Paradise, Pacific Palisades. And you think about this stuff, and now that we're like out of immediate danger, thank God for the time being, I start to think kind of the big picture of this, and like, what are you going to do? What are you and your family going to do? And like, you go through, I'm a creative person. So I go through all of the options. I could move to, I can, thanks to you guys, I could move to Europe. I could move the family to Europe. You know, we have family in Europe. We do. And Europe's very cheap right now for Americans. Europe's cheap. You can buy big houses. They have population decline, and like they're paying like Western, like independent people like me in Portugal and in Spain. They're paying us to, you know, to move there. I could go to one of these southern states. You know, I used to live in West Virginia. I could move to one of these southern states that are really, really cheap and just buy a huge, with the money from our house, just buy a huge place, a huge spread. I have, thank God, thanks to you guys, I have all of these options. We as a family, we have all of these options. And I'm just, the only thing I can say, I can't, I'm just like, we're going to stay and fight and rebuild. Stay and fight and rebuild, and like use your platform to encourage. A lot of you guys, you know, say a lot of you guys are like, I'm 24. What should I do? I'm supposed to go to college, blah, blah, blah. And I tell all you guys, learn a trade. If you want to be an artist, you can be an artist, but you're going to need money. You're going to need resources. You're going to need to know how to do stuff. And I'm going to start telling all you guys, move here. We need you. We need electricians. We need plumbers. We need builders. We need engineers. We're going to have to rebuild. It's fucking 5,000. And this is conservative. They don't know how many buildings, but when you look at the Palisades in that footage, they say like 5,000 structures and stuff. The whole town is gone. The whole thing is burned down. And, you know, I guess my purpose is I have this voice, and I know all of these people. I know a lot of people in like powerful powerful what is it called, media people. And I don't know what to do. I have to keep doing what I'm doing, but of course, you know, the context has changed now. But you know, I hope our house is saved, and we're going to try to get in there. Who knows when the electricity is coming on. One thing I didn't mention when I'm talking about these arsonists, is that, you know, after the Woolsey fire, which was in 2018, and we had to evacuate Topanga for that one. 2018, that was a big fire, the Woolsey fire. And I'm pretty sure it was started because of like a obsolete or over burdened transformer, like up in the mountains. It was the Santa Anas again, these furious winds. One of those things like exploded and started the fire. Okay. And I don't know how the Franklin fire, which was a few months ago, the Franklin fire in Malibu, I don't know how that started. Right. We don't know how this Palisades fire started. I think there's rumors, but I don't think we know for a fact how it started. But these things, they're not exactly easy to light. It's not like you drop a fucking cigarette and the whole canyon goes up. It's not like that, although it is illegal to smoke cigarettes in Topanga Canyon. It's not that. It's some big thing. It's some big, like maybe if you're cooking on a cookout, if you're cooking on a charcoal grill, right? And it's all those charcoals, and it's like a big furious fire that you can't dump a water on, and like the wind blows it over and it spills, and you don't have fire suppression, or you're a fucking idiot and you just take your time and you don't panic, because you should panic in that situation. That's the kind of thing that ignites fires. I was up in, this was in 2016 on a motorcycle ride with Isabel. I was up north, like near, kind of like between Yosemite and Giant Sequoia National Park, and there was like this just huge burn scars in the mountains, and thank you firefighters, handmade signs hanging from people's houses and stuff. And we found out, I think at lunch at a restaurant, that fire was lit by someone lit a Dodge Charger on fire and pushed it off a cliff. That's how these fires get. They don't get lit by somebody, you know, they're not just like a little accidental. And the thing was with these Santa Anas on Tuesday and the Palisades is that we were all warned. We all know, and everything had been fortified since the 2018 Woolsey fire that nearly came to Topanga and burned a lot of Malibu. That's when the Department of Water and Power and the utilities associated with it, they went and they replaced all the poles. They replaced a lot of the infrastructure of the transformers and so forth. They periodically send drones up and do little reconnaissance to see where there's vulnerabilities and so forth. Everyone's really careful. They started sending our kids down into the valley for school on really windy days because they know that they're going to, the utility company, they don't take chances anymore. They're going to shut the power down because there's a risk that if a power line goes down, even though they're new and freshly built and fortified, there's a chance that they'll go down and so they turn off the electricity when they probably have detectors. I don't really know. I'm making that up, but they turn off and they will tell you, they'll send you like an email or a text message. We will be shutting your utilities down, blah, 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 due to high winds. My point is in these neighborhoods full of responsible people, these, I'm sorry, but expensive neighborhoods, these aren't careless people. These aren't irresponsible people. These are the most careful, the most responsible people. They're not accidentally igniting these fires. So Paradise and Malibu and Altadena, these are the big ones, okay? I don't know. I just don't buy it. And there's a rumor going around that it was some resident in the Palisades and they were burning leaves or something, doing yard work. I just don't buy it. You're not going to do that. Irresponsible, and your neighbors aren't going to let you get away with it in the Palisades. I know the Palisades. I know these people. I know them. This isn't what they're like. Anyhow, I just think that we're going to see a kind of a cultural, I think we're going to see a kind of a revolution. And I think we're starting from scratch. I mean, a lot of people are starting from scratch, and a lot of, Palisades, those are powerful people. Those are leaders. Those are wealthy people. Those are people with influence. And I think we're going to take a look at the policies that have been going on for, 30 years or something. And we're going to start, new voices are going to start making rules. And I think we got to get, it's possible for some disenfranchised vagrants that are mad at the system and they're drug addicts and they get delusions. It's possible for them to 10 of them. We're talking about 5 fires or something like that. It's possible for 5 of them, to destroy the entire city. They get the days right. They get the winds right. It's possible. And maybe they just want to maybe there's, accidentally or unintentionally, you have a little Coleman stove heating up your crack or whatever, or your heroin or your soup or hot dogs or ramen or whatever. It blows over and lights your tent on fire, and then that blows, and you're, oh, dude, man, I don't know. I understand that I'm scapegoating here, but they caught this guy and he lit a fire, and I had to flee with my family yesterday because of him. And I don't know who this person is. I don't know what the hell it is, but I've been exploring every kind of nook and cranny around here with my son every Sunday for about 2 or 3 years on electric dirt bikes, looking for just having fun. And I've seen some things. I've seen these people, and I've seen how they live, and I see how they trash and leave their garbage, and they just camp out where there's children, and they make a lot of these parks like not usable because they're not in a rich neighborhood, so they know they can get away without the police or private security or something coming and sweeping them away. And they caught this guy yesterday, and I'm furious because this scumbag, we had to pack up and flee, and he endangered all these people because of what? Why did he do that? And why aren't we protected from that kind of those kinds of people? I'm going off the rails here. I should just be doing a report of it, but it's very raw. It's like it's happening. It's dynamic. I don't know what the hell is going to happen with my house, our house. My kids are stressed out. The baby's fine, but she's moving to a different place to sleep every night, and she's not sleeping through the night, which keeps all of us open. My poor son is just, he's basically like just glued to his iPad watching Simpsons after Simpsons, and he gets really stressed out and freaked out. And this is a tough kid. This is not one of these. This is a tough kid. I'm raising him Gen X style. He's tough, and um, he's glued to his iPad. That's his comfort, and he's like got a little artist kind of soul in him, and he's just watching The Simpsons, and it just takes him away from all of this and all of this uncertainty. And yeah, it's I mean, just thank God for you guys. Thank God for all the resources I have, and the families and the friends and everyone reaching out. If you need a place to stay, you can stay at this. You can see, my brother Dean is shooting on location in East Coast, and he has an apartment here. He's like, go take my apartment in Hollywood if you need it. Neve Schulman was like, go take my house in Laurel Canyon. Of course, the day he sent that, they had to evacuate Laurel Canyon and I think that was arson too, because the Hollywood Hills started to go up. Yeah, and these Angelinos, man, I love them. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with them and how good they've been. And I hope you guys that are here, everything's working out for you, that are, all you guys that are displaced, because, I know some of you live around here. And okay, so maybe I'll go. Let me go see. Let me see what some of this. Just see if I can find some relative. Let's see. You're going to have to tell us your personal Topanga Canyon Palisades fire story. Oh, I just did that, Corey. Can you, Braxton, put all stuff on YouTube that old farts like me who are too old for TikTok can watch it? Also, I don't think we're on TikTok. Also, any reason for the typewriter upgrade? I noticed Kurt Vonnegut liked the same model. I was watching something that my friend Eric Good had made, a little movie that my friend Eric Good had made. It's just something, it's not released out yet, but the new typewriter was in it, and I was just like, I was with friends, and I was just like, that's my typewriter. I just bought that typewriter. The reason I have a typewriter upgrade is because that's my studio typewriter. The new typewriter is the studio typewriter, and the old typewriter is still at the house. But the new one's called the Smith Corona Silent. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. I love it. It's also the one that Tom Hanks in American Typewriter says that's his, if he was cast away on a desert island, that would be the typewriter he would want. Somebody asked, how does this like affect your creativity? Let me see if I can find that. I'm just going to do like 10 more minutes of this live stream, but I think I should answer your questions. So Vincent asks, aside from the fire, how's everything? Do you have any goals for this year? What are you working on? So the fire kind of changes everything. The fire it's like, it doesn't matter if there is no beside the fire. The fire is the foreground now. The fire is our life now, because these communities, they're gone. They're just gone. Things have to be rebuilt. And I'm like a fixer. So I don't know. I don't know. I think whatever plans I had or whatever I was thinking, I have to now, I have to think very short term. I have to think very short term now. So, short term, I want to do a video about what I just told you, the story, because I shot all of it, of course. And then I want to do a little video I want to do a video today for YouTube, sort of like a recap 10 minutes of what I just told you guys, and publish it on my main channel on YouTube, just talking into a camera like this. And then I want to do story with visuals, with the video that I captured of this experience. And then I want to do like a video just about from old footage from the Palisades. I kept Palisades like a secret. Like I didn't talk about it on this channel because I didn't want people to, I wanted it to be like, I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be like our little like place, for the community or whatever, just a little place where we can hang out and just like, I'm not going to draw a lot of attention to it. Cause it's like, I don't know. So I think I have a bunch of footage of like what it's really like there. So I think I might do like a love letter to the Palisades, and I think the people who are from there will really appreciate that. So just hoping you guys are safe. In my non-creator life, I work for the company Slack, and we're helping CAL FIRE and Cal OES respond and coordinate resources. The stories I'm hearing from the fire line are just awful. And that's from Mark Whittington. Mitchell Parrish says, you might have shared this before, but could you talk about how you found Topanga and eventually landed there? I was up that way a few years ago and absolutely loved it. So Isabel and I were living in Silver Lake, and we had just moved there from, this was in 2016, we had just moved there from New York City. And so we would just go to different parts of Los Angeles just to explore and see what we liked. And we went on a hike. I believe it was in Eagle Rock in Topanga Canyon. And Isabel was just like, "Oh my God, I love it here. I love it here." And it was the smell. It was the air. It smells so good. We have sage. It's unbelievable. And then when she got pregnant, it was just like, it was like, and she says that it was our son brought us there. She was like, I think maybe we went hiking when she was pregnant too. And she was like, okay, we're moving here. So it's Isabel. I've learned in relationships, you leave the domestic stuff up to the women because they have a deep connection to like the right places to live. And you can't be too rational about that kind of stuff. I know that sounds crazy, and it is, but stuff like who you marry, where you're going to live, what your job is, the most important decisions, you sort of shouldn't be very rational about. I know it sounds crazy, but so anyway, she says it was our son brought us to Topanga, like in utero. And so she just was like, this is where we have to be. And then like the right house worked out. And oh my God, I love it. And the thing about Topanga, I grew up in a town where everybody kind of hated it, Some people liked it, but it was just kind of it was like an easy place to live. It was cheap. And then like people were naval officers, and people in the Navy would live in that town because they'd get stationed there. So then, but it was nothing. I mean, it was just kind of it was nice. I like those people, and I love my oldest friends are from there and everything. But it wasn't a place you moved to. It wasn't a place. It wasn't a place where like Linda Ronstadt is going to write her songs, and it's not a place where Neil Young is going to record after the gold rush, both of which were in Topanga Canyon. And it's not and the people who live in Topanga Canyon love Topanga Canyon. They love it. They love living there. It's so deep, and it's just like this thing. Every time you drive into that canyon from the rest of the city, you're just like, I love it here. I'm so grateful that I'm fortunate enough to live here. It's so beautiful. You come over the hill and you see Big Rock, and you see these vistas. It's just beautiful, and it's a community. So that's why I want to just stay and fight and stay and like figure it out, because it's so beautiful. And it's for us. John Gardner asked me, how did you meet Laura Kumpf? It would be awesome to see you guys collaborate on something. Okay, I should know. My brain's a little scrambled right now. I think, was it like Colin and Samir maybe connected us, or maybe Braxton connected us, or maybe Braxton direct messaged Laura, or Laura direct messaged me, but I didn't really know her. I didn't know her at all. And then she just came to the studio, and it was like, boom, we just hit it up. We're just instantly on the same wavelength. And I love Laura. She's so great. She's so great. And she's Santa Clarita. I should find out. She's near the other fire. I always want to say it's like Eleanor, Elsinore, the Eaton fire. The Eaton fire, which is now at 13,000 acres. So it's bigger than the island of Manhattan, that fire. Okay. What's your favorite sparkling water flavor? Mine is hibiscus. I think I like grapefruit. So this is Hi Van. Glad you and your Colligan asked. Hi Van, glad you and your family are safe. How can people in other areas of LA help? And what is an aspect of Topanga that has an impact on situations like the fire evacuations? So the help is going to have to come later. One of the things is you can take in people, offer your place to people that are, all the hotels are full, and there's thousands and thousands of people who've been evacuated. But the help's going to come. This is going to be a decade of figuring this out. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the fires nearby? What insights have you learned listening to your boy's perspective? Kate's seen, well, my boy is he's much more relaxed about it than I am. And, oh, here's a good one. Annie Adchavanich. Annie Adchavanich asks, Van, hope you and your family said, what's in your go bag earthquake/fire kit, and how is it packed? I just updated mine from a backpack to a clear storage bin on wheels. Would love to see a video on this topic. Be well. P.S. Thanks for fixing my granny's shopping cart. Oh yeah, I remember that. So the wheel doesn't fall off anymore. Oh, I remember you. So my go kit is my Land Cruiser and the Tacoma. And in the Tacoma, I have one of those aluminum boxes that goes in the bed up towards the cab, and it's one of the narrow ones. It's not deep. And in that, I have everything for a chainsaw. I have the pre-mixed gas and oil. I have the chaps. I have the mask, the hard hat, and the ear protection. I have bar oil, and I have a brand new chainsaw that's never been gassed up. A brand new steel chainsaw. So that's that vehicle. And then in my Land Cruiser is basically my go bag. And then in there, I have a bunch of little go bags that are other things. And then I have my camera go bag, which is my Kill Spencer go bag. And that's the thing I just throw all the most expensive cameras in, and the GoPros. And that's essentially it. And the Land Cruiser has like water in it. It has tons of Cliff bars. It has 4 bags of beef jerky. It has spare clothes. It has, because go bag and emergency stuff is kind of the same as adventure stuff. And so we're always going on adventures, and we always wind up, I do Sundays with my son, and like we wind up someplace at some weird swimming hole, and I'm just like, guess what I have? And and then I have a backpack to pack it all in. I have two dirt bikes on the back, one of them for him, one of them for me, but he can double up on me if there's a problem, and he can double up on mine with me carrying his little dirt bike if there's a problem, and that battery holds 50 miles worth of charge. What else is in there? So I have an angle grinder, a cordless angle grinder with cutoff wheels in the Land Cruiser, and it's something we call the war box. And that's in case there's a situation where the roads are all blocked and we have to access fire roads, which I also have paper maps of, and I've explored on dirt bike with my son. So I know to get out of out of the Topanga Canyon, if I'm taking Red Rocks, when I come to the T at the top of the hill, I can't go right because there's some big rocks that my Land Cruiser can't get over, but I can go left and get to Stunt Road. And I have an angle grinder to cut the locks. They're just padlocks on the fire roads in case they haven't been opened. So, and then, little toolkits to maintain the bikes, extra keys for everything, toolkit to maintain the truck a little bit, but it's pretty, thank God, it's pretty bomb proof because of all of the new, the new engine, new transmission, I just got a new drive shaft. And it's literally and figuratively diesel. So, I have all that stuff. Water in that truck. How is the vac? Has the evacuation experience changed your perspective on the physical objects around you, both the meaningful ones and the mundane ones? Did choosing what you save and what you will leave alter your perception of the value of the stuff? I've been through this before. We've been through this before. So I'm pretty well edited down to like what the important stuff is. And that's, like I said, about the Land Cruiser being outfitted in a certain way, and then the Tacoma outfitted in a certain way, and then the studio is sort of a safe house, and then if the studio burns and the house burns, then it's like reevaluate the life or my whole life, because it's like how secure can I be? I'm like not rich enough to have some bunker somewhere. And then there's also storage. I also rent storage, which is a little bit further east of here, that has some other stuff in it, but that's not as meaningful. The most meaningful stuff is probably in the studio because it's the data, which is also in a steel toolbox ready to go. That was thrown into my car with all of the archival hard drives from this channel and all of the archives of all of my videos from my whole life, and the footage archive with all of my footage basically from forever. I don't have the tapes that haven't been digitized yet. There's probably a couple hundred or 100 and something tapes up at the house that haven't been digitized yet, but a lot of them have been. And those were all in a steel case ready to go and went right in the back of my Land Cruiser when I thought we had to get the hell out of, when I had to get the hell out of the valley. Okay, and that's 10. And I'm going to try to get something out on YouTube, and I'm going to try to do something. I'm going to try to do like one of these for YouTube, just like a recap that's on the main channel. And then I'm going to try to do a video that's the kind of this, but with the footage. And then I want to do that Palisades love letter thing. I think that's what I'm going to try to work on. But the interruptions obviously are non-negotiable. And then my life is not efficient now. I have a very efficient life normally where I can crank these things out, but my life is not efficient now because now I'm living a far commute away, whereas before I wasn't as far away, and my stuff's all scattered, and there's demands on me for one thing. Alex Morris says, Van, how can we help? How can we help, Van? Let us know. This is very, very specific, but I would like to, the thing is, I think they're going to let us back into our houses, God willing, if they save the canyon. Once the fire's under control, I think they're going to let us back into our houses. But the thing that I'm concerned about is that they might let us back into our houses, but it's going to take them a long time to restore electricity. And I have a battery system at the house, but it's not strong enough to run the whole house. And it only works for 2 days at a time until it needs to be recharged again. So it's like an intermediate battery system. And what I'd like to do is upgrade to a natural gas, because we have a natural gas tank, a natural gas 7,000 watt generator system. And I imagine that's going to be very much in demand. I don't know though, maybe not. So I'd like to install that, and I might need to appeal to you guys for like the personnel. First of all, who do I, where do I get it? I've done a little bit of research on this, and I think it's about 7,000 watts to power my house. Like, who do I get to, where do I get it? Who do I get to install it that it's like that I can trust and is good and won't gouge me? And then that's it. Cause I think I need like do plumbers do gas? Like, this is propane flammable gas, but I think that's the best one because the propane tank can be refilled. It's not dependent on city infrastructure the way that electricity from the grid is. This is just, we have a big, I don't know how many pound or gallon or whatever. Just, it's like, comes up to here on me, and it's like this big around with a valve on top. And that's how we heat our house, and we do our cooking and stuff and heat our water. But I'd like to have, there's a generator that you can get that you connect to that same gas supply. So you can have the gas company deliver gas, and that's your electricity. So maybe if you know people that won't gouge me, that know this process of doing this, and I have to buy the thing, I'm paying for it, and I'm not asking it for free, we'll pay for it, but get the gas thing, and then get the generator and get the person, to whoever it is, to install it. Shoot. Okay, thank you so much, you guys. You're really, your support is saving my family's life. So I wish I could get more content out to you, but obviously I'm doing the best I can here. And okay, thank you. Have a good weekend, and thank you very much.